Welcome to the OFX podcast. I'm Dave Clacton. Along with me is our agitated athlete.
I am agitated.
We'll do the agitated thing in a bit because we had to talk about house paint. Actually, I thought you'd want to talk about Gabriella DeBoo. What is it? Gabriella
DeBoo Stafford, yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. Oh, that was really exciting. So she ran a 5,000 meter indoor time, which are generally slower, in 14:31. So just like putting this into perspective, that's a 2:55 kilometer. So we all kind of know our running pace. That's a sprint. So she set both the Canadian record and the North American record. The North American record was held for 13 years by actually Gabrielle's coach. And which was 14:47. So she destroyed it. And it was honestly, she said too, it was a bit of a shock. But her teammate was right behind her too, Elise Cranny. And so I'm sure having both of them there pushing it, so they both would have set the North American record. But yeah, Gabrielle got it. So she's just having an amazing season. I don't know the number, but she has something like 9 Canadian records now, and she set 7 of them in the Olympic year.
It was like last week she broke the 3,000 record for indoor.
Oh my gosh, yeah, she's on fire. And her sister just joined the pro circuit as well. And she also ran a really good indoor race that same weekend. But yeah, they're training together both now.
Okay, so I have questions, like neophyte track questions. Okay, this is an easy one. What's different about running indoor? Like how big is the track?
So it's 200 meters on the standard indoor track. So when you talk about indoor records, they're on a 200 meter track. Sometimes you have oversized indoor tracks. Like the Notre Dame track is a 320, so it's 5 laps to the mile. But the standard indoor track is 200 meters. So you run a bit slower because of the centrifugal force of running the tighter curve, right? So I don't know exactly the conversion or percent, but your times are generally slower than an outdoor track.
All right, and that's kind of weird, that 320 track. That's different. Anyway,
yeah.
Well, my other question is then I heard Bracken and Kirk talk about this a little bit, and they said like there was a lot of really fast times at that one meet.
Yes.
And like they kind of flew it off, but is it possible there's something up with the track itself?
Yeah, so like tracks are known for being fast tracks and slow tracks.
Yeah.
It's probably a fast track. And then, I mean, you have those 2 top girls then they were running so fast. So, I mean, girls just kind of hang on. So that happens sometimes. You get them on a fast track. People are having everything is aligning for these 2 girls. They're pushing it, and the other girls are just trying to hang on for dear life. And you end up just having this heat of people that end up just running blistering fast. I don't think there's anything illegal about the track.
No.
But yeah, there's fast tracks.
Yeah,
they're usually they're hard.
I don't know jack about track, especially indoor track, but I do know about building things, and I do know that sometimes things are a little bit different, and you could
and this one has the curved sides too, which helps with that centrifugal force on the 200 curve.
Like banked.
Yes.
That'd be cool. Could be. I want to watch this.
So the U of T track is like that.
Yeah.
And York, if you ever wanted to go.
nearly.
They're fun, especially when you're running really fast.
Yeah.
And you kind of get up on the slope, and it feels like you kind of slingshot off of the slope onto the straightaway.
Well, that'd be kind of cool. I kind of like that. I think I'm going to start watching more indoor track. I like the thought of that.
It's fun. It's super. I find it even more fun to watch an outdoor track just because, I don't know, like the laps.
They're quicker.
I don't know. It's not, the times aren't quicker, but I just think it looks cool. It's kind of like race cars.
Yeah. Did you do a lot of indoor track, or did you do it often?
I did indoor track. Yeah. So in Canada, the varsity season is only indoor track.
Makes sense, right? Time of year.
Yeah, so I raced outdoor track, but it wasn't through the university. You run it with your club.
So for people who don't get it, how fast that is, right? Maybe some of the OCR people, like most probably do get it, but like how quick would some of the quicker OCR women run a 5K in?
Like right now, I would like a fast OCR girl is like low 17, high 16.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Like more than 2 minutes faster on a 5K.
Yes. Yeah. Like Faye Stenning, who again comes from the track world, her PB, and I don't know these, but she's like, even in her OCR training, she's run low 17s in road races. So if that kind of puts it into perspective,
Yeah,
Rebecca Hammond would probably be about the same.
yeah, and even I think for OCR stars, we saw Lindsay ran like a 17 something.
Yeah, so that's about, again, our fast OCR girls would be low 17, and then some girls that maybe came from the track world might do some high 16s. Laura Stroud, she can do high 16s.
Yeah,
Renee Medivier would, again, she kind of dipped her foot in OCR a little bit, but she would be as well.
Steph Steeples, whatever she's.
Yeah, so they're very fresh out of their track world, but yeah.
That's cool. All right. So let's get to why you're ticked off.
Yeah. Yes. I know this Russian doping scandal, it is just all sorts of frustration right now. Yeah, so the backstory here, we have Camila Valivier. I'm not saying that right. She's a 15-year-old Russian figure skater. She tested positive for a banned substance December 25th. So not recently.
Mm-hmm.
And then she was still allowed to compete. There was some ongoing investigations. She was also tested recently, so during the Olympics, for two substances that aren't banned, but at high levels they are. So they're L-carnitine and Hypoxin. So both of these they're supplements that you can take, and they improve your heart function, and they increase the amount of oxygen that's pumped through your blood. So obviously performance enhancing, there's good reasons that they're banned. So L-carnitine is the one that I've, again, tracked people. Alberto Salazar, his suspension came from that. So it's the amount that's banned, you'd have to be injecting it. So she had these substances, but I don't think they were at that level, but the reason it's significant is because the substance that they found in her system in December, which is a big long name, it's trimetazidine, which is a banned drug. And they said, so her parents said that it accidentally ended up in her system because her grandfather uses it. So I don't really understand the drug and how that would be possible. But because then they said they found these other two legal substances in her system, it negates the fact that this other one could have possibly been accidentally in her system, because they're all heart function increasing supplements and drugs. So, and after all of that, she's still allowed to compete, which then it brings back the situations with Sha'Carri Richardson, and it's again that double standard. So the reason that they're saying she's allowed to compete is because she's protected under because she's a minor, she's under 16, so she's a protected person. So she wouldn't even necessarily be the one who would get the suspensions. It would be her coach. So she would kind of get off with like a minor slap on the wrist. Her coaches would serve the suspensions. And then the IOC, the Olympic Committee, is also saying they're trying to take it easy on her because for her mental, to prevent mental anguish, was the word that I read. So because she's so young, they don't want to like damage her from taking her out mid-Olympics.
Okay.
So yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, because before you go to Shikari, what the fuck? Like,
Right.
if you're mature enough to go to the Olympics and compete with the best in the world, you're mature enough to get caught and get knocked down. You've put yourself out there. That's just the way it is.
Mhm.
That's what it's going to be. I don't get. Do I think her coaches should be suspended first? Hell yeah, because I don't think she probably is even aware of it. But it doesn't matter. Like,
Right.
is what is like that's flipping insane.
Her
Right?
coaches and her parents are highly aware of what's going on because they already had the excuses ready.
Yeah, and this is something that always gets me when I've accidentally ingested it. I've accidentally got this. I've accidentally got that. Drug test me today. I don't think it's that easy to accidentally dope.
Right.
Like,
Right. And the other thing is you're about to compete at the highest level. Are you not super, super careful? Like if you know your grandfather takes this banned substance, are you not going to like separate yourself from him for a little bit so that you don't accidentally find this in your system?
I've lived with many family members and have never accidentally ingested their drugs.
I know, and I don't. Right. And then it's like again when I'm forgetting her name, but the 1500-meter runner, the American, who accidentally, yeah, yeah, the high levels of hormone from the burrito. Again, why are you eating anything that you don't know what's in it? Like you can't.
Yeah,
It
but
just it blows my mind. So
that was
it's
a lot of shit.
yeah, exactly. And at the levels that were in her system, like that didn't come from a burrito with tainted meat.
No.
So the frustrating the reason they're also allowing her to compete is because they're saying that her investigation is still ongoing. So what they're doing then is, and again, this girl, they're saying Camila is potentially the best figure skater the world has ever seen.
Mhm.
Like she's landing quads. She can do 4.5 rotations, which is most females can't do this. This is something typically males can do. And at 15, she's doing things that most women can't even fathom. So she's just at a level that it makes a really big difference that she's doping. Because she's potentially going to win the overall. So what they're going to do then, they're going to allow her to compete, but if she podiums, which she will, they're not going to host the ceremony. They will wait until her investigation is done.
So they're going to screw over everybody else.
Yes.
Because, like, really, that's the dream, right? You go to the Olympics, you win a medal, and you get your ceremony and stuff. But because this girl has probably cheated, has kind of already been caught cheating, but we're going to be easy on her. Now they're going to rob the second, whatever, the other two medal winners of their moment.
Yes,
Like,
exactly. Now, the other girl who potentially, so right now they're saying second place will probably go to the other Russian who maybe she's doping too, and then the third will go to China. These are the predictions anyways. But yeah, so if they come second and third, then they won't get their medal ceremony, and it'll be done like in their home country whenever this investigation is over, which is not the same as doing it in the Olympic Stadium.
I just and again, she's from Russia, and the fact that they can't even compete as Team Russia shows you where all this is at. In my mind, like,
right, they're the ROC.
the ROC, which again is just a load of crap because I mean, all they've done is change their name and give them bad hockey outfits. Like they're really terrible hockey outfits.
Right.
Worst hockey.
Yeah. So again, I thought that in order to be able to compete for Russia, you had to have never had ever in any sort of failed test.
Mhm.
So I again, why are the rules? And that was for the Summer Olympics, and there was only about 20 athletes, I think, that came from Russia under the ROC. So I don't understand again why this girl is competing if she had a failed test 2 months
Right?
before.
Yeah. And back to the other thing too, if you're of age that the IOC feels you're too young to deal with the complete ramification of the rules and discipline, then maybe you're too young to go to the Olympics.
Okay, so then this brings up another point, is gymnastics, which again is a similar sport to figure skating, where typically it's under 20-year-olds. So in gymnastics in the Summer Olympics, they said no one under the age of 16 is allowed to compete at the Olympics. So why is figure skating not following that same rule? And I don't know the answer to that. This brings up a good point. If she's going to be protected because of her age, then maybe the Olympics should change the age.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Like, if you can't be expected to adhere to all the rules or all the disciplines, then you're too young to go.
Right.
It's the way it works in society. Why the hell wouldn't it work in sports, like in the Olympics? I'm baffled by this, because a lot of this I'm just hearing from you. Like, I knew there was stuff going on, but I didn't know a lot of the details. It just makes no sense. Like, and again, like I said, with Russia's history, I don't understand how something like that could be held. And then yeah, go with the tie-in with Richards.
Yeah, so Sha'Carri Richardson again. So she's the American 100-meter sprinter. She won their Olympic trials, and then an a drug test came back that she did the day before the trials, that they found marijuana in her system. Mm-hmm. So with her, what happened, again, it's a banned substance, although not performance enhancing, it's still banned. It's actually performance D enhancing, but anyways, side point. And then what happened is her mom, she found out her mom died 3 days before the Olympic trials, and she uses marijuana to deal with anxiety. And so that she did smoke weed 3 days before the Olympic trials.
And she admitted it.
Obviously, and what made it even worse is she found out her mom died from a reporter. So she had been estranged from her mother. A reporter basically put her on the spot in a pre-race interview and said, "Did you know?" And obviously that's extremely traumatizing. And so then she did. So she admitted that she did, but again, we're talking about a not performance enhancing. And the difference here is they banned her like immediately from the Olympics, which were a month away, and they took away her win at the Olympic trials. And there was no investigation. And even she tried to file some complaints about it, and they were just basically like, no. And it all happened within days. Whereas we have this situation here where this Russian girl was tested December 25th, and they've still been allowing her to compete, even though the investigation is ongoing. Whereas with Sha'Carri, it was immediate. And also the thing with Sha'Carri is you only have a 1-month ban, because that's how long this drug stays in your system. So she could have competed at the Olympics in the relay, but because it was after her 1 month, and they just said, nope. No consideration whatsoever.
Now, and this was a question that came up, was it the IOC saying that, or was it like the Americans saying that? That's the only thing.
That's a good question, but I think it would be the IOC ultimately.
I would think so too, because I can't see the Americans not wanting to send their best.
Right, because again, she was a favorite to be on the podium.
Yeah.
So, and again, like, we're talking about a drug that does not make her better. Like, whereas the Russian girl is taking 3 different things that are known to help improve her performance. Like, this is not the same situation here.
No, it's not. It even makes me think back to Ross Rebliardi when he got nicked for pot as well when he won the I think it was moguls way back.
Oh,
anyway.
Yeah.
Again, that drug should be taken off the list and should have been forever.
I know. So do you want to hear another story? Which I don't know if our Canadians would all have necessarily known this, but at the 2016 Olympics, our pole vaulter, Shaughnessy Barber, so he was tested positive for cocaine, also banned. I don't know if it's performance enhancing.
I think in certain situations it could be, absolutely.
Yeah, okay. So he tested positive for it, small amounts. And he tested positive for it. I think the day of the trials, they let him compete. And then they basically like kept it quiet. And then after it was all done, then they announced, oh yeah, he happened to have this positive test. But what he said was, he said he got it from, so he was with a girl the night before. And a girl that he found on Craigslist, and he somehow ingested it from her. I don't know.
Like off her stomach? I'm just
I have no idea. But that was his story. And so he avoided all suspensions and was allowed to compete at the Olympics. And he's also someone who, so that year he won the world championships, he won the Pan Am Games, bronze medal at Commonwealth. So he was the national record holder. So Canada, I guess, found out a way to kind of keep it quiet. And he didn't have a great Olympics, but that's not the point. He was still allowed to go. But yeah, he avoided all suspensions. Nothing happened. But again, we're talking about, like, again, similar to Sha'Carri Richardson. So we have your white male who tested positive in competition for a drug, and it was just kind of swept under the rug.
I mean, like you said, it's right there. That, I mean, Sha'Carri being a Black woman in that, and her posting on Instagram being that like, this is the only thing she sees different, which I kind of see a lot more different, where she's a lot less guilty than what I'm seeing with the other people. And
well, exactly. So what is it then if it's not about race?
And I hate to think that, because I'm always the guy that like tries to not see that. And
Me
maybe
too,
that's wrong,
yeah.
right? Maybe I'm looking at it wrong. Maybe I should be trying to see it and not see it. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's really hard to come up with something else.
Right.
And I got nothing. I really do. I'm like,
right. So what is it? So, and it's too bad that we're, again, and it's too bad that we're still living in that type of situation.
well, and the worst part is that the people that are in charge just seem to be, they don't have to justify themselves. They don't have to answer these questions. It's just like, if asked, they would just be like, no, that's not the case, and stuff like that, and move on and shuffle. Like the sheer politicians is what they are.
Yeah.
It's tragic, and I hate seeing stuff like this. And you know what? Even the Russian girl, I feel really bad for that kid.
I do too.
Because this is not, I don't think the 15-year-old kid is like, juice me up, let's do this. This is clearly not her plan, right?
No, and again, you're involved in a culture where this is just happening, so you don't even really question it. And she's a child, so she's been doing this her whole life, and this is just part of the culture there, so she wouldn't even question it. And she probably doesn't know what she's doing. She might, but she just would do what she's told. And they would probably reassure her everything is going to be fine, you're not going to get caught. From my understanding, this drug, that the illegal one she was caught with, typically metabolizes out of your system, and they would know this. If, as long as we stop this drug within a certain time frame, she won't test positive for it within competition. And from my understanding, the only reason it was still in her system was because she's so tiny, she didn't metabolize it fast enough. So their system didn't work. But again, they would have reassured her that everything's going to be fine. And she just wouldn't have really questioned it. Like, and I think back to, so in my university days, I was involved on a team where there was a lot of toxic things going on, and I was 19 and 20, and there were things that I just didn't question. So, and where the coach is like, you just do that. And I'm not talking drugs, but like, I had a broken foot once, and they were like, well, let's just see how many more races we can get out of you. Let's see if, like, how much painkillers we can take. And again, I'm like, oh, I guess this is just what we do. Like, I didn't honestly question it. And I know that sounds silly, but I was 19, and I saw other girls doing the same thing. And the coach is like, we need you, like, can you just give us one more race? And you're like, okay, I guess. Like, so the culture, and you're so young, you just don't question it.
I actually don't think it sounds silly at all. I think I absolutely think it's completely understandable. And I've talked about this before with people. If I was 17, 18, 19, and I'm going to do whatever sport, and even, like, I guess for me, for judo, right, that's where I was most competitive. And I would have been young, and they're like, yeah, okay, here's what you take, here's what you eat, these are the vitamins, these are the supplements, this is what you do, I'm going to go, okay,
Right.
You're the coach. And even if you're the little girl in Russia and they're like, yes, these are banned substances, but all of these other athletes are taking them and
Right.
you want to win, that's what you have to do. And
Right.
they'll do it, right? Like it's because you're 15.
Hmm.
You're not even responsible. You're not responsible enough to drive a car.
Right.
How can you be responsible enough to make that kind of choice? So no, I feel really bad for that kid, and I hope it
Yeah.
doesn't stick with her for the rest of her life. But man, this is
Yeah.
just horrible. And maybe it goes to that thing that maybe there needs to be a higher age limit on this stuff.
Yeah.
You know?
I think so. And even what damage could this potentially be doing to her body? Like the
Mhm.
drugs that she's taking. I don't know. It's sad. And from what I've heard to the Russian athletes in figure skating, their expiry age is very young.
Oh,
Basically, as soon as they hit puberty, they're done. And it's also because of the way that they train them. And they basically, if you can survive the training, you'll be great. But most of them don't, and they end up destroyed at some point, and it's really sad.
isn't that what like China did with the gymnasts forever? Was just take anyone with any potential whatsoever, put them through it, and even if it's 100 of them and one makes it, well, there you go, we got our one.
Yeah, yeah, they streamline them very young. Yeah,
And it really, I love the Olympics. I love watching the international competition, but I've become so soured on it because of this stuff.
I know. I know, me too. All the politics that are involved in the Olympics sometimes are just too much. And I don't know if maybe we need to take a look at who's being represented on the IOC and, kind of a top-down look here and start trying to make better decisions.
Yeah, it's just they seem, because again, that corporate or IOC is just so freaking corrupt. It's like
Yeah.
it's an untouchable thing. I don't know. It's what happened what happens when a great idea gets taken over by people with ulterior motives,
Yeah.
and your institution becomes complete farce of what it should be.
Yeah.
That's sad. Every time now, and that movie Icarus made it even worse for me. But every
Yeah.
time I see some kind of amazing achievement, I'm like, eh,
I know. Then you
eh.
question it, right?
Yeah, which is
Hmm.
horrible. It's terrible. I don't want to do that. I want to be amazed. I want to be entertained. I want to be blown away by what humans can do, and instead I'm blown away by what chemists can do.
I know. So then they raise the question, do we just let it all happen? Or are we going to continue to fight it? I would always say continue to fight it, but I've also heard people say the other way, where it's like, um, you can't fight it forever because the technology with the performance enhancing drugs is so ahead of the technology to catch it that we always be fighting this battle.
Well, creating and distributing and making performance enhancing drugs pays a lot better than trying to catch them. So that's always going to be out in front, right? Like
Yeah.
the bad guys are funded better on this particular occasion, and they're going to.
Yeah.
So
Well, and that's why I don't think it was a bad decision to ban Russia from the Summer Olympics, because it's kind of putting down a heavy foot, like saying we're not going to continue to tolerate it, um, whether they change or they don't. But I mean, at least taking that sort of a stance
so
is moving things in the right direction.
were the Russian athletes not there at all for the Summer Olympics?
Yeah, some.
So then they're not banned.
Yeah,
It's
yeah. You
and
had
that's
to be,
yeah,
especially in the summer. Yeah, they had to be very clean, basically, which perfect.
yeah.
Hold them to a higher standard.
And if you're clean, you shouldn't give a shit.
Well, exactly. And then I think, okay, so they said Russia could only compete if they'd never had a failed. So that means then there's people who are competing who have had failed drug tests at some point, but now they've paid their time and then now they're competing. Like, did they just get smarter? Like, I don't know. They were willing to cheat before, or they were too young and didn't know. I don't know. But it was interesting to me too.
Ah, man, I don't know. I I wish it wasn't that way. I would like to, maybe when you try it, just let the best chemist win. Just go for it and see what happens. But,
It would destroy people.
oh yeah, people would probably literally die,
Yes.
from what they would do to themselves to try to, because I guarantee there's people out there who will say, yeah, if I can win an Olympic gold medal, I'll die after that. I will literally give my life to win this medal. There's people who will do that.
Absolutely.
And well, I mean, how many NFLers literally did that?
Yeah.
Jacked themselves all up back in the 80s and 90s, and
Had heart attacks when they were 40. Yeah.
look at 90% of the professional wrestlers. Like,
Yeah.
those guys
Yeah.
die at 35, 40 years old. Not all of them, but I'm saying there's a good majority of very curious deaths in hotel rooms for no
Right.
reasons. And I don't know.
Yeah. I don't think we should ever really go that route. But anyways, I've heard that argument come up too, but I think you always have to keep fighting against this.
Yeah, I'm with you. I would rather see clean. I just don't know how you get there.
I know. Yeah.
When, like I said, it pays too much to not be clean.
Hmm.
And here's a little off topic. Do you think it's in OCR much?
Ooh.
Here's the thing, I'll say, I would be stunned if it's not. Not to the levels that you see like at the Olympics and stuff, but
Hmm.
and it's probably more so, and I'm gonna say this, more so in age group and stuff like that than it is in the elite field.
Yeah. It's interesting because you think, why? Like, we're not making money in OCR, and a lot of like this stuff is expensive.
Mhm.
So if people are going to do that, like either they have money to burn and their age group podiums mean more to them than it really should. Um, it would be really sad to me, but I would never say it doesn't exist, but
So
it's just not a sport where, again, people are getting these paychecks that make that worth it. Like, it's kind of, so in a way it's kind of a pure sport in that way. But again, I'm sure it's happening.
here's the thing. Back in the day when I went to the gym and did stuff, and bench pressing meant everything and all that stuff, and you skipped every leg day and all that great things, there was nothing on the line at all. No competitions, no anything, no whatever. And I knew many guys in the gyms taking steroids for no other reason than to just be stronger.
And bigger, yeah.
And bigger and stronger. And it is sheer ego. It served no other purpose, which makes me think, and again, I am completely surmising, I'm guessing, I have no evidence, and I'm not accusing anyone of anything. I would just saying that same ego is huge in OCR, and we'll put it in hybrid racing too, because again, it's CrossFit, OCR, hybrid racing. I'll put it all out there.
Yeah.
That same ego is in those places rampant. I mean, OCR is built on getting cool pictures for your Facebook.
True. Yeah.
There's no doubt in my mind that it's leaked. It's in there too, because that's the same mindset. It's that same ego, right? And now I say the age group, because the age group thing, again, the only benefit to the podiums and all that stuff is really, it's an ego thing. It's ego driven. It might be some, and I'd hate to say this, because I know a lot of people, and I mean, me too, like, we're self-driven and want to do well just to better myself and to improve on what I've done before. But there's people out there that to do that will do anything. They'll put it this way: if we're seeing people cut courses to win podiums, we're seeing people skip out on burpees and not do penalties and out and out cheat left, right, and center. Those same people, that's the same mindset that would have you do steroids to do better in a race, to pad your ego, to get your goal, your accomplishment. So I would be really stunned not to see it.
Yeah. No, you're right. And I mean, we're not a sport where we really do testing. Same with hybrid racing.
No,
CrossFit does testing, but again, like maybe at a championship they might pay for testing, but you could get away with it for sure.
Well, for sure, you could cycle all through the year until until it's competition time.
Yeah.
I don't think there's a lot of random drop-in drug tests for CrossFit.
For CrossFit.
Yeah.
Oh, CrossFit. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know for sure. I don't know. I've never really asked someone in that world if they get randomly drug tested. Like I've known people on the Olympic stream in running, and they are randomly drug tested weekly in the off season, especially if they live somewhere convenient. So I haven't heard necessarily about any CrossFitters getting randomly drug tested outside of it, but
No, I don't think they do. And one, because testing is very expensive and someone's
yes.
got to pay for it. And I don't think CrossFit as an organization is going to pay for that. Now they'll pay for it at the events, as we've seen people test positive at events.
Yeah.
But I don't think they will do it like that random testing. That's really expensive to have people go out and do that, and it won't happen. And OCR, we don't see, you see it sometimes, maybe
Yeah.
OCWC, maybe World Championship for Spartan. I don't know. I haven't heard of a lot of people being tested lately.
Well, I know they had it in Tahoe and they had it at OCRWC. Those are the only two times I knew for sure.
Yeah. And then, as we said, with hybrid racing, I don't think it exists as of yet.
No.
And reality, I mean, it might be the spot where it would show up as much as CrossFit, because again, same kind of ilk, a little more strength orientated, a little more power orientated. It's just, so again, that saddens me, but
I know.
think it's an inevitability of the sport. And if anything, it's a great excuse for everyone who's clean. If you don't make the podium, well, that everybody else is using. So that's why. That's what I'm going to say.
Oh, yeah. I don't think everybody's using.
Everyone is using.
Everyone except you, Dave. If anybody beats you, they must be.
I am too damn cheap.
Right.
Actually, so might as well quickly. So High Rocks Boston, that's our cut and paste Chicago, now Boston.
Yeah.
And so today, the testing now, as far as I know, other testing, we don't have to do PCR.
No, we just have to do the rapid test.
So that same thing, though, the benefit of that, though, is that's like way cheaper, isn't it? And faster, obviously.
It's cheaper, faster. You get it within 15 minutes. Yeah, so you have to do it. So I just talked to my travel agent friend today. So we don't have to do the PCR. So you save your $180. You get the results immediately, but so you have to go to a testing center still, and you have to have that test with you to get back into Canada. Okay.
So it's still not quite all the way there.
No, they made it sound like they were lifting it, but you still have to get a test. It's cheaper and it's quicker. But my fingers are crossed that within the next month they get rid of that altogether, because the problem too is that these rapid tests, they've said it over and over, they're super inaccurate. So why are we even bothering?
I was thinking the same thing. They're not very reliable.
Yeah.
I think it's just a doubling down and showing like, hey, we said these things worked before, so we really believe it. So that's why we're using them again.
Maybe they just they made too many and now they're trying to use them all up. I don't know.
Well, they don't want to kill the industry, right? The testing industry now. They built an entire industry on testing. So all those people have to make their money. I know, but I'm very excited about going.
Yes, me too.
Still was very disappointed about Chicago. I didn't let on too much, but I was pretty bummed.
Yeah, well, you were packed and ready to go.
The car started.
Oh, you really were ready to go.
It was funny, and I never said this, but so I was going to do like some for content, right? So this whole video, I was going to like, hey, this is my morning, la da da da. I'm getting up, and I stood the video. I'm doing my morning. I got the video going. Here, I'm going to do my test, and the test came positive. I was like, well, shit.
Did you get that on video?
I think I did. I probably deleted it. I was pretty pissed off. But I did video, and I was just like, I should have held on to it. It was kind of funny.
Yeah.
Even the look on Riley's face when I was like, you got to be kidding me. And she's like, no way.
Oh man, you could have put some really good music to that actually. Like the yeah. And then the screech, and then you go out and you shut off the car and sadly drag your
I
bed.
just went right back to bed, and I did.
Yeah.
I went right back to bed. Actually, no, I went for a workout because that's what I should. No, no, I went right back to bed and cried. No, I didn't cry, but
And you're like, what am I training for?
this is stupid. Speaking of training, today's episode is brought to you by Duo. We're a little late on that, but we'll put it on the stuff anyway. And I got my thing today. I got my the
Your
pull-up,
rings?
yeah, the rings and the whole system today. And
Yeah.
I'm going to do a video because there's a crap ton of exercises once you get those rings that you can do that I'm not seeing other people do. Like
Yeah, I know. I was thinking of some today too.
tons of lower body work.
Yes.
Right? And pretty much anyone who's because you can use them the same way you use a TRX.
Yeah, and I use a TRX all the time.
Yeah, exactly. So I was like, it's almost like I was kind of working out, I could do a full body workout. And this is because you think, the big thing that the whole thing's for is like, when you don't have the space, right?
Yeah.
You don't have the equipment, you don't have the space, so you want to do a good workout. So like, I think I'm going to do a video where I do a full body workout in my bathroom. It was either going to be my closet or my bathroom, but I thought the bathroom would be better.
Yeah, that'd be good.
Because some people don't have big closets, but everybody has a bathroom.
That's right. Yeah.
And if you don't, I'm sorry.
You're probably safe there.
So yeah, anyway, definitely I'll wait for that video. It should be pretty good. I'm looking forward to it. Anything else on the go for you lately? Like, how's your training going? Because I mean, you're just back at it. This might have waiting for Chicago not happening might have been a good thing for you.
Yeah, I needed more time. Yeah, and January was a really stressful month for me. Like again, gyms were closed. So and life stuff. So the time was a blessing. And I got COVID. So it would have been 2 weeks after I got COVID. So it wasn't really good timing at all for me. So it is a bit of a blessing. I definitely am feeling a lot more ready. My running is coming. And again, I was in a boot in the fall. So I've still been rebuilding from all of the running that didn't happen last year. So that's coming along, and I'm starting to feel a lot better now. So I'm really looking forward to Boston now. I was gonna be like, Chicago was going to be a disaster, I think. So now it'll only be like a mild disaster.
So we're the opposite. I'm cursing it because I think I could have won my age group, and you're like, yeah, it's probably for the best.
Yeah. Yeah.
So have you decided what you're going to compete in?
Like pro or open?
Pro or open or doubles or whatever.
I'm gonna do pro.
Yeah. Good.
Yeah.
And I don't know a lot about the women's field. I know the men's field. I mean, it's one to sneak in if you want to maybe sneak in and get a podium.
Because everyone's in Denver.
Yeah, everybody's at Denver Deca. And for God's sakes, Yancey, stream that live.
I know.
So that we can go after we do our race, we can go back to the hotel and we can like put it up on the TV and have a beer and celebrate and watch, because that is going to be amazing.
I know. I can't wait to see that one. Yeah, I don't know about the women's field though.
I haven't heard much. I don't think Lauren's going. I haven't heard from Rachel. I don't think she's going to that one either. That's a maybe.
Yeah.
So I mean, that's 2 big spots. I do know our Heather White is going.
Yes. Okay.
But then like Tara Jackson is competing in doubles, so she's not going to be in the main one.
Okay.
Her and Dylan Scott are doing the doubles together.
Oh, exciting.
Yes. I actually look forward to that. I'm planning to stream that on our Instagram, because that'll be first thing in the morning. Who else? Yeah, I don't expect you'll see anyone like Corona Coffin or anything. I haven't heard about Alyssa.
Kelly Sullivan's on the East Coast too, right?
Yeah, I could see Kelly Sullivan making it. Yeah. We're gonna have to start digging around here and seeing, but it could be a very light field for the pros, and maybe that should be, expected coming off of, you're gonna have Chicago just finishing for the championships, New York happening on the 3rd, and then Boston coming after that. Maybe that kind of should be expected and makes a little bit of sense.
Yeah. Who knows?
So, question for you, and this has entered my mind: because it is a distinct possibility for me. And I think had I gone to Chicago, it would have happened. If you qualify in some form or another for Vegas, will you be going?
So it depends how I feel about High Rocks after. No, so the problem is Vegas is the same weekend as the Toronto Spartan, which is the closest, well, one of the closest OCR races that happened to me. So it's also a big one that I can typically get a lot of gym people to go to.
And that's good for business.
Yeah, exactly. So unless I do Boston and like I'm like High Rocks, I love it, and like I want to do this again, I'll probably do the Toronto Spartan.
Yeah. I don't know for me because it was never a plan to go there, but if I end up getting like a qualify for an age group spot for that, it'd be hard for me to say no to.
For High Rocks.
Yeah. Which again is tough for me too. Like, I mean, I'm not a big Spartan racer, but the Toronto Spartans, that's I think an hour and 30 minutes, an hour and 40 minutes for me, maybe.
Yeah, like you can sleep in your own bed. Like that
yeah.
never happens.
Well, happens with Blue.
Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
So I don't know. I mean, that was just something I thought about. I was like, oh wow, I wonder if I'd do that or not, or if I'd pass on it. I don't know.
Yeah. It's not likely for me, but I mean, I'd love to be able to do everything, but
yeah. I'm surprised. I almost expected you to change your mind and head to Colorado.
Oh, for the DecaFit. I know, but again, like I have clients going to Boston. So if I know, I would probably rather race a Deca right now, but I've kind of already been committed to High Rock, so
we're gonna have a great time. It's gonna be a good one anyway.
Yes, we are. We will have a good time.
Absolutely. All right. Well, you know what? I think that's good enough for tonight. Why don't we just call it a night? And by the way, this was completely not the plan. We just ended up doing this anyway. So
lots to talk about.
Yeah. Well, you know what? It's crazy stuff. I mean, I'm blown away. And tonight is big gold medal hockey game too.
Yes, I'm so excited.
I'm really disappointed about the Canadian men though.
Why?
Sweden eliminated them.
Oh yeah.
Canadian men's and yeah. I don't know. I guess it happens. When the NHLers don't go, it's a completely different tournament.
Yes, it is. Yeah.
So anyway, good for Sweden. Off they go. I like Sweden. They're nice.
They're nice.
They're nice. Sweden's nice. They got different colors. You know what? There's too many damn red and white teams anyway.
Oh yeah.
Canada, Switzerland, the Russian team. There's way too many red, white. It's like when they did hockey countries, if your flag wasn't red, white, and a little bit of blue, you weren't in. It was no good. So, little baby blue and gold, fine, go for it. Fun with flags.
Yeah.
Awesome. All right, Beth. Well, I guess we will talk to you next week.
Yes, we will.